UK is going after your encrypted Apple data. Microsoft is paywalling updates. Ransomware payments are dropping. And FOSS News is strong this week. We have a lot of good stuff. Welcome to Surveillance Report 213, where we're dedicated to keeping you private and secure with the latest news in the past week. I'm Henry from TechLaw.
I'm Nathan from The New Oil.
As always, we couldn't do this podcast without so many of these supporters that allow us to be independent and be very nitpicky with our sponsors who we also choose. And in return for that, we also have a private Signal group that we love to chat in. And we also have a exclusive VIP version of these episodes where we give a lot more commentary, a lot more analysis, and just a lot more of our personal thoughts on these stories. You might notice that we kind of just cover the story and move to the next one in the regular episode that you watch on YouTube. But in the VIP version, there's a lot more analysis on each story. You also don't have to hear this whole spiel every month. We automatically cut out the segments like this. So you kind of just get the best of the episode with none of the filler. If you don't like Patreon, we're also on Liberapay, which doesn't have perks. We're not allowed to do that on Liberapay, but it is a way for you to still contribute to what we do if you believe in what we're doing. And we also just accept direct Monero tips. And if you also want to have a perk with Monero, we are on XMR Chat, where you can join our Q&A by leaving a question with Monero. Everything is down in the description. Check it out to support our podcast and keep it free. And now the highlight story. So UK is demanding access to Apple users' encrypted data. Very big story, so listen up. So the UK government is demanding to be able to access encrypted data by Apple users worldwide, and it's important to outline in its cloud service. So currently only the Apple account holder can access data stored in this way, and the tech giant cannot view it. The demand has been served by the Home Office under the Investigatory Powers Act, which is the IPA, and compels firms to provide information to law enforcement agencies. Apple declined to comment, but says on its website that it views privacy as a fundamental human right. Under the law, the demand cannot be made public. An important bit of nuance here is that this demand applies to all content stored using what Apple calls Advanced Data Protection, or ADP, and this is pretty much their end-to-end encrypted cloud offering that we highly recommend users implement because it gives you end-to-end encryption for almost everything in the Apple ecosystem. This is opt-in, and you have to activate it, as I just said, so you can do this in your iCloud settings, and we highly recommend doing it for better security. The downside to this is that because not even Apple can see your data, you have to store your encryption key, and if you lose access to your account and your encryption key, you lose your data. Perhaps another issue now is that it's drawing some unwanted attention by the UK, and it's believed that the government would want to access this data if there were a risk to national security. In other words, it wants to target an individual rather than using it for mass surveillance. So authorities would still have to follow a legal process, have a good reason, and request permission for a specific account in order to access data, just as they do now with unencrypted data. And Apple has previously said it would pull encryption services like ADP from the UK market rather than comply with such government demands, telling Parliament it would never build a backdoor in its products. Cybersecurity experts agree that once such an entry point is in place, it is only a matter of time before bad actors also discover it. And withdrawing the product from the UK might not be enough to ensure compliance. The Investigatory Powers Act applies worldwide to any tech firm with a UK market, even if they are not based in Britain. The tech giant can appeal against the government's demand, but cannot delay implementing the ruling during the process, even if it is eventually overturned. The government argues that encryption enables criminals to hide more easily, and the FBI in the US has also been critical of the ADP tool. So, important backstory. Apple, a long time ago, wanted to integrate something like ADP, end-to-end encryption in iCloud, and it was leaked not too long after a lot of people were asking for this, that Apple chose not to implement this because of US government pressure. With that said, we don't know what changed and why Apple decided randomly, we're just going to roll it out anyway. My guess is that it has to do with like early 2020, 2021, Apple was going through a lot of security issues and scandals where little things were happening to journalists and they were getting a lot of bad press. And so my guess is that lockdown mode and ADP were kind of their main responses to that, and they felt it was worth doing. So now we're finally starting to see pushback from places like the UK that are coming forward and saying, well, actually, we don't want this. This is making it harder for us to do what we need to do to spy on people, etc. Very difficult situation. We will see what happens. This would be a big blow to security if anything actually comes of this. But this, for the record, not to get people to be complacent, this is a pretty big uphill battle, I think, for UK. Because even if the UK makes it happen, there's still a chance that Apple will just pull the feature altogether, which I think is actually better than having a backdoored version of ADP, because it won't give people a false sense of security. And also, I'd just be concerned about Apple developing a backdoor in ADP in one jurisdiction, because that means now they've done it in one jurisdiction, and it's really easy to replicate that in other jurisdictions. Obviously, best case scenario, this doesn't actually pan out the way they want it to. Next best case is Apple just pulls this feature altogether out of the UK, but that also sets a dangerous precedent. And then the next best, I guess the worst case, is they do build a backdoor into this, and then that would be very concerning. And then I think at that point, it'd be a little risky to recommend the feature.
My first thought, we were talking about this before recording. I have to make it's not really a joke, but I say it jokingly. I'm really tired of being right about terrible things. You and I talked about how Telegram was sharing user data. And I mean, granted, we cited our sources, but lo and behold, Telegram's been sharing user data the whole time. And then I specifically remember when the UK put out I think this was the online safety bill, right? Or something like that said like, we're going to force client-side scanning. And then they passed the law and they said, well, we can't think of a privacy respecting way to do it. So for now, we're not going to enforce it. And everybody was like, yay, victory for privacy. And I was the only person going, but how's this a victory for privacy? Because the law is still there. They just said it's the same argument the NSA makes. Like, oh, we have access to all your data, but trust us, we're going to play nice and not abuse it. Why is this different? And lo and behold, it's not different. Oh, hey, look, we kicked down the road. We've caught up to you. Here it is. I'm tired of being right about terrible things. So my new prediction is I'm going to win the lottery. And I don't know how I'm going to do that because I don't play the lottery, but that's my new prediction is I'm going to win the lottery. I'm going to be a millionaire. All my problems are going to be solved. Since apparently whatever I say comes true. Okay, jokes aside, I think you really hit the nail on the head. First of all, the article says it's unknown how many people choose to use ADP. I have a really, really, really hard time imagining that it's enough people to be statistically significant and to actually matter to the police. One person is using ADP and they're just like, nope, we got to shut the whole thing down. We can't see anything, man. My second thought is if hypothetically encryption really is slowing down the police, they need to start being transparent about that because every study that's publicly available says that this is a waste of taxpayer money, that surveillance doesn't actually do anything good. If anything, it actually hurts people. So if they're going to sit here and be like, no, going dark is screwing us over, you need to start coming forward and saying that. Like, here are the number of cases where we honestly believe that if we had had more insight, we could have solved this crime, but we couldn't because they were using Signal or they were using advanced data protection or something to that effect. I've mentioned on the show before that it is stupidly easy to pick locks, especially like consumer locks, like door locks. And a backdoor is just like that. Like, it's not going to stop anybody from picking the lock. It's only a matter of time before somebody does it. So yeah, there are a lot of problems with this. Some of the big problems include the fact that, like, number one, this was a hidden order that Apple was not allowed to talk about, not allowed to discuss. That's really shady. Number two is the whole, like, they can't delay implementation. Like, y'all know I'm very frustrated with how slow the law can move sometimes, but that's the whole point of an injunction or an appeal is like, whoa, hold on, time out, pause. Let's talk this over and figure this out. And they're like, yeah, we can talk about it, but you still got to do it either way. So this is really alarming and really not cool. Yeah, obviously we're not fans of this. This is really alarming and really unfortunate for the UK. Y'all might want to start migrating over to other things. I know I have one friend from the UK who said today that he's going to start looking at a Proton drive. To be clear, we're not necessarily like huge fans of Apple. Like, we're not saying like, oh, everybody should go use this. It's more like a harm reduction thing. Like, well, if you're going to use iCloud, there's better options out there, but you may as well use ADP because it's, you know, it's there. Why wouldn't you use it? To all the people who always leave stupid comments that are like, Apple's backdoored, everyone knows it. If Apple's backdoored, why is the UK pushing for a backdoor? They're part of the Five Eyes. They don't have to. It's not like we won't share it with them.
We might fall in different camps on it. I'm not somebody who would say that ADP is the best place to be overall, but the usability that you receive with the security is pretty unmatched right now. It's really hard to match it, unfortunately. Like, Proton Suite is just so lackluster compared to even iCloud is not known to be a good suite relative to other services. So it's not like I'm praising iCloud here. But when you compare it to Proton Suite and the other suites right now, we just put out a macOS guide on Techlore. And it was really hard for us to put the section together where it's like, because in the original Techlore guide that we did 4 years ago, it pretty much was like, just don't use Apple, turn it off, and then just use like end-to-end encrypted alternatives to iCloud. But that was before ADP. And then it became really hard to recommend like a better solution. So pretty much like what I suggested is if you're already in the Apple ecosystem and you just want a good improvement, just enable ADP. If you want a better improvement, use ADP selectively. So, there's middle grounds. Maybe you prefer the integration with files and Finder, so you just use iCloud Drive. But then for everything that's more sensitive, you're able to find alternative solutions for like Proton's ecosystem and anything else that's end-to-end encrypted. And then the best case scenario is you fill in each individual thing, everything that iCloud with ADP offers with individual services. The thing is, that's like I put it in there as like a hypothetical. For most people, that's just not really going to be doable. And we knew that putting it in, but it's still something to like chase after as like a goal. So anyway, it's tough. I think ADP genuinely is good, and I hope that it continues to exist because it offers kind of that perfect middle ground solution for people who don't want to have to migrate all their photos to other end-to-end encrypted photo providers. They don't want to give up the ecosystems they're a part of, but they still don't want Apple to see their data. And that's what ADP serves. And just like Nate said, the fact that we're seeing government pressure to backdoor the technology should be further proof that it is at least safe enough where Apple probably can't access the data directly. And if you have ever used ADP, you'll see that it requires your own encryption key that you save on your end. It's a question I get a lot. Like, how do you know it's encrypted? It's like, well, you'd save the encryption key. You can try to do traffic analysis and see, how the traffic is handled. Otherwise, what else are you going to trust in the world? How do you know your chip isn't, backdoored by the frickin' UK government? Like, how do you know? It's just tons of hypotheticals.
I wrote a blog post one time called The Question of Trust, and that's exactly what it's about. Is like, if you want to follow the rabbit hole far enough down, like you're always trusting someone somewhere.
I'm a fan of the use case that ADP provides, but I do wish it wasn't by Apple, if that was possible. But I don't think it is. The best chance is Google doing something similar, which they do through their like workspace accounts, but it's like really complicated to set up for most people.
I just want to add, we do differ slightly because my recommendation is like at least try some of the other encrypted suites like Proton or Phylin or something. And then if it doesn't work, like, well, if you have to have that convenience that Apple offers, you may as well use ADP because it's there.
I don't disagree with that advice at all. I just think that's a lot of nuance for like a quick video that we made.
The new oil has been accused on more than one occasion of being called a wall of text. And that'll take us into our data breaches. Our first one comes from Casio UK, who is a Japanese electronics and watchmaking company. Their store was hacked to steal customer credit cards. So the number of impacted victims was not specified, but the stolen data includes billing address, email address, phone number, credit card holder's name, credit card number, credit card expiration date, and credit card CVV code.
Grubhub data breach impacts customers, drivers, and merchants. If you don't know what Grubhub is, it is a food delivery service with a lot of people in a lot of cities. The number of people impacted, though, is not disclosed, even though there are over hundreds of thousands of people who are potentially impacted by this. This was a result of a third-party service provider whose access has since been revoked. Stolen data includes names, email addresses, phone numbers, and partial payment data.
Hospital Sisters Health System is notifying 882,000 patients of an August 2023 data breach. So this health system works with over 2,200 physicians and has around 12,000 employees, and they operate a network of practices and 15 local hospitals across Illinois and Wisconsin, including 2 children's hospitals. Information impacted includes name, address, date of birth, social security number, medical record number, limited treatment information, health insurance information, and driver's license number for some individuals.
HP has notified employees of data breach after a Russian Office 365 hack. This occurred in May 2023. It was caused by Russian state-sponsored hackers known as Cozy Bear, who accessed and stole data from their environment. The number of people impacted is at least 16 employees who received these breached letters, and the type of data stolen was driver's licenses, credit card numbers, and social security numbers.
So this next breach, you guys know we try to stay nonpartisan here as much as we can, other than the occasional snippy comment. I was really on the fence about including this one. So the headline says the biggest breach of US government data is underway. And I feel like that was kind of a sensational headline until they kind of made a good point. For those of you who don't know, Trump took office and Trump established the Department of Government Efficiency, just like he said he would, and put Elon in charge of it, just like he said he would. And Elon has basically just been walking into any government agency he feels like, setting up shop and saying, I'm the boss now. Maybe not the boss, but he's basically saying, like, give me access to all your stuff. At the time of recording, they have gained access to sensitive government data, including the information of millions of federal employees, payment systems handling $6 trillion in transactions, databases containing personal information of millions of students and financial aid recipients, Medicare, Medicaid data, and personnel systems at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So here's the part where they kind of convinced me, and I was like, oh, maybe this is worth mentioning. Doge staff have questionable cybersecurity practices. One of them, for sure, according to Brian Krebs, has come from a known, very violent cybercrime group. A couple of them have had ties to the alt-right, but the article cites things like using personal Gmail accounts to access government calls, potentially connecting unauthorized email servers to the government network. The security clearances are unclear. Most of them have never been through a clearance. Elon Musk has never been through a clearance. Their temporary clearances may not provide sufficient authority to access restricted systems. And there's just a lot of lack of transparency. Like nobody really knows what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're looking for.
A really important detail here, I don't know if you said this specifically, pretty much every person's social security number is accessible to the team right now. This isn't just like federal workers. Like if you paid your taxes and you're in the system in any way, your data is just being handled in a way that you have zero control over. We don't know what's going to happen. And they're not even being transparent, but they're saying it's read-only, as if that's the best case scenario, which apparently it is. And there's a lot of talk that it's not read-only, it's write-only. Apparently that changes things. It's
it does, but not in the context of privacy.
And the final data breach, super quick update. PowerSchool, we talked about this data breach a couple weeks ago. It originally was pretty much focused on North America, so US and Canada, but it also impacts 16,000 students. This impacts schools, students, information, teachers, and date of births, medical data, and other related information. So this is really just an update to say that data breach expands over to the UK as well.
That'll take us into companies, and we only have two stories, and they're both from Microsoft. So the first one is about Windows 10. As many of you probably know, especially if you've been listening for a while, Windows 10 is losing support later this year, I believe in October. Windows 10 extended security updates will start at $61 per PC for businesses. So Microsoft will charge customers $61 per device in the first year to continue receiving security updates after support ends. Organizations cannot skip initial years to save money, so you can't wait until like year 3 and then jump in at the last minute. They're going to charge you for 3 years worth of updates. Some users may avoid fees if they are connected to Windows 365 cloud PCs, and the program also covers virtual machines running on 365 or Azure Virtual Desktop for 3 years with an active 365 subscription.
Microsoft Edge update adds AI-powered scareware blocker. So this is in version 133, and this is called a scareware blocker feature. What this does is it uses computer vision to detect and block tech support scams in real time, protecting users from malicious websites that claim their device is infected. It detects and blocks tech support scams in real time using a locally run model that doesn't save or send images to the cloud.
That'll bring us into the research, and we only have one research story, but it's actually good news. It says, despite catastrophic hacks, ransomware payments dropped dramatically last year. So basically, we had some record-breaking ransomware attacks in 2023. Payments overall, though, decreased by 35% in 2024, according to Chainalysis. The decline is attributed to several factors. So we saw a lot of law enforcement takedowns. There's increased awareness, which results in like more defenses, more response plans, and surprisingly, crypto regulations, like cracking down on mixers. So there are newer gangs emerging, but the article speculates that there is a lack of skill and experience compared to their predecessors, which may also result in them demanding smaller payments since they think they probably can't get as much.
That's actually it for research. So now I'm going to hop into politics. So a senator has tried to bring anti-porn age verification laws to New York. Just to give a little bit of context, this is happening all over the US right now. So multiple states have already or are proposing some sort of anti-porn age verification. Now, for those who are new to this, kind of the concerns around this, we're looking at it more from a privacy angle. The issue right now that we've seen is a lot of these age verification systems come with a lot of privacy issues. A lot of them have lied about how long they store data, or they just keep it indefinitely. A lot of them say they delete it right away, but we've seen some of them they didn't try to not delete it, they just didn't delete it properly. So there's multiple layers of this. This new bill in New York aims to require adult websites to verify users' ages through digital identification, credit card transactions, or government IDs. Much more than just, is this person 18 or not? If passed, sites without age verification would face a $50,000 daily penalty.
EFF applauds Little Rock, Arkansas for canceling ShotSpotter contract. So for those who don't know, ShotSpotter is a gun detection software. Basically, you go around, you install a bunch of microphones around the city, and they claim they have AI that can detect gunshots, but we've covered this on past episodes, actually. They've caught car backfires, they've caught fireworks, and I mean, you're obviously going to have false positives, but they've been accused of like telling people to go in and change timestamps and metadata to fit with the police investigations. So And the city of Little Rock has voted to end their contract. The decision comes after community members coordinated efforts to educate the public and local officials about the risks of the technology, including its potential to capture private conversations and enable discriminatory policing.
India expands Aadhaar authentication for businesses, which is raising privacy concerns. So Aadhaar is like the ID authentication that's used in India, which perhaps has a few more concerns than the one that I just talked about in Estonia. They've amended in 2025 the legislation that passed in 2020, and this update includes the sub-rule that allowed Aadhaar authentication to prevent the leaking of public funds, broadening the scope of the unique ID-based verification. So entities looking to enable authentication will be required to apply with the details of intended requirements, which will be examined by the United Identification Authority of India and IT Ministry. This update has raised concerns about the misuse of individuals' biometric IDs, with experts highlighting the need for clearer and more transparent criteria for evaluating applications. The Indian IT Ministry has yet to define the guardrails it would consider to avoid misuse, and the responses to the public consultation have not been disclosed.
Australia is testing hand scans to figure out your age. No one outside the company that created it has used the technology yet. First things first, this came from a listener. Thank you for sending this in. So there's a French company, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this. It's called Needemand. And they claim to have developed a technology called border age that can determine a person's age with 99% accuracy by analyzing their hand movements. The technology is being tested by the Australian government as part of their national age verification scheme. No robust evidence has been provided at this time to support the accuracy of border age, and the technology has not been independently tested or used outside of the company. So the way it works is by collecting video footage of a person's hand movements, of course, which raises concerns about data collection and storage, and companies never talk about that either. The company claims that no personal data is collected, but it's unclear how the technology ensures privacy if that's the case. The Australian government has contacted a UK company called Age Check Certification Scheme, ACCS, to validate the technology.
Sweden aims to introduce a law letting police wiretap children as gang violence is rising. So this legislation would allow police to wiretap children under 15, and the law aims to target gang leaders who recruit teenagers through social media platforms like Telegram for crimes like vandalism, bombings, and murder. According to police, around 600 criminals targeting Sweden live abroad. Teenagers as young as 12 are being hired for violent assignments through digital marketplaces, and they're working with foreign countries to extradite gang leaders and crack down on tech platforms used for recruitment.
That'll take us into the free and open source software section. Mullvad VPN for Windows on ARM is here. So if you use Windows on an ARM device, you can now use Mullvad VPN. I'm going to go ahead and just quote the whole article, or 99% of it. Quote, the Windows on ARM app supports Windows 10 and 11 for users of ARM64 computers. The installer is the same for both ARM64 and x86_64. The app includes all features that you would expect from the Mullvad VPN app on other desktop platforms. If you have feedback about Windows on ARM, please contact our support team by email.
Tuda has added a single-click email export to the free Tuda desktop email clients. So this is on Linux, Windows, and Mac OS, and they're doing an easy import and export, perfectly integrated in your OS, push notifications, spell checker, and automatic signature check upon client updates for best security. Plus, they've added single-click email export.
One thing I want to add to this is they say we've added single-click email export to the free desktop client. I don't know if this is available to all plans. They didn't specify. Our next story is about F-Droid. F-Droid has been awarded the Open Technology Fund's FOSS Sustainability Grant. So this is a almost $400,000 grant from the Open Technology Fund, and they plan to use it towards the following goals: enhancing privacy-focused apps for global users, especially in areas with limited internet access, establishing clear policies and legal strategies for handling government censorship requests and takedowns, improving localization workflows to make translations easier to manage and maintain, strengthening donation infrastructure for long-term sustainability, and enhancing hosting and infrastructure to increase flexibility, reduce costs, and ensure reliability.
And now we are in Misfits. Netgear warns users to patch critical Wi-Fi router vulnerabilities. So Netgear has warned users about 2 critical vulnerabilities affecting multiple Wi-Fi router models. The security flaws, which can be exploited for remote code execution and authentication bypass, impact Wi-Fi 6 access points like the WAX 206, WAX 214v2, and the WAX 220. And as well as the Nighthawk Pro gaming router models. So Netgear strongly recommends updating the firmware to the latest version as soon as possible to prevent potential attacks as it is fixed.
And our last story this week, crypto stealing apps found in the Apple App Store for the first time. This is a campaign called SparkCat. one word, which has been discovered in both the Play Store and the App Store. So malicious apps have been downloaded over 242,000 times. They contain SDKs or software development kits designed to steal cryptocurrency wallet recovery phrases using optical character recognition stealer. The malware can extract recovery phrases from images on the device, allowing attackers to load cryptocurrency wallets without knowing the password. The malware searches for images containing secrets by using specific keywords in different languages, which change per region.
And that finishes it off for the week. So again, the UK is going after Apple's encrypted data, actually your encrypted data. Microsoft is paywalling updates, ransomware payments are dropping, and FOSS News is strong this week. Again, we can't do this podcast without the amazing supporters that make it happen. This is free. We sit down every Friday night to make this happen, and we're super nitpicky. We've already turned away so many sponsors because of the amazing support we receive from all of you. So we still want to keep that energy going, and the way we're able to do that is through perks that we try to offer. So on Patreon, we have a private Signal group that you can join on the lowest tier, and if you upgrade to the highest tier, there's only 2 tiers. You get the VIP version of every single episode that we publish each week, and that one is a lot longer, has a lot more analysis, more takes, and a lot more personal stuff. I just posted a little teaser on my Mastodon if you want to see some of the stuff we talk about in the personal side of it. We also have LibrePay. No perks there. We're not allowed to offer perks on LibrePay, but it's just an option to extend to more of the open source community who don't want to go through Patreon. And then we also support Monero for those of you who want max privacy and want to contribute to what we do without any kind of public record. So Monero is the best way to do that. And if you want to have an anonymous public record, you can leave a chat on XMR chat by leaving us a question for our Q&A with Monero. So check out all the links down in the description. XMR chat's a really cool one, I think, because you can ask us a question and we'll add you in the Q&A, and all you have to do is send some Monero along the way. If you don't want to support financially, we totally get it. Just get involved, care about your privacy, care about security, keep listening to the report, send along a story, or check out SR Clips where we take some of these stories and already take the clips of them for you. And also just leave a rating when you can. Send us stories, it's on our website. You can check out the website down in the description and share it around, and we'll see you next week. That's all I got.